Hi, my name is Bob Taylor, and I'm your host today for this segment of Our Ventura TV. I'm here today with my guest, Brenda Lopez from SurePath Financial. Brenda, why don't you explain SurePath Financial to me?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having us. SurePath Financial is a nonprofit credit counseling agency that is based here out of Camarillo. A lot of individuals in the community might know us by our former name or our legal name, which is Consumer Credit Counseling Service of Ventura County. So we're actually the same agency, just a different name. And we've been serving here, as I mentioned, as a nonprofit since 1966.
Oh, so you strictly come to help people who are having financial problems of one kind or another.
Yes.
Now, are you, and maybe there isn't a big difference here, but are you a debt counseling service or a credit counseling service? And I can see how there's a little bit of a difference.
There is, and that's actually a great question. There are for-profit debt management companies, and there's nonprofit debt management companies. And what we are is we're a nonprofit, as you mentioned, credit counseling debt management organization. So what we do is our services are geared at helping an individual regain financial control and then to provide financial education, which is really our mission and our focus, to help them then stabilize in the future so that they do not get back in trouble, for lack of a better word.
Right. So are there income verifications or qualifications for people to come see you, or will you help anybody and just charge them a certain amount, or what?
Yes, so there's not income qualifications per se, and remember what I mentioned, financial literacy, financial education looks different for individuals, and it just depends on where they are in their life and what financial crisis they might be facing, or they might not. It might just be a preventive measure. So we do not have any per se qualifying criteria. There are programs that do have specific guidelines, and that is why the consumer will meet one-on-one with a certified counselor who will then go over their options. But anyone who needs help, whether it's with credit, if they have bad credit, less than perfect credit, or no credit, can come to us. Anyone who has excessive debt, maybe they had a medical issue or an unforeseen crisis where they can no longer pay back their credit cards, or maybe they're looking at purchasing their first home. We help them with the basic money management skills. We help them face any issues that they might have, and then we work towards putting them on the road or the path to achieve their financial goals. So anybody can come to us. There are some fees for our services, but they're very low to no cost. It just depends on the individual situation and what program they're looking for.
Well, you did hit a buzzword of mine there, first-time home buyers. Mm-hmm. You know, quite often, okay, we know we make enough money for something, but we're just a mess. And so you help them put together a budget. Mm-hmm. So even though they do have money coming in and they're not inundated with debt, you don't got to help them with their debts or anything, but you can help them put together a budget so they can move forward and possibly buy a house in the future.
Yes, and like you mentioned right now, it's just what we're trying to do is we're trying to help the individual get self-sufficient, especially in the economic personal finances.
Right.
So in the case of buying a first home, or even if you're a homeowner, we know that one of the root causes for crisis or hardships is those unexpected repairs. Whether something happens to the bathroom, plumbing, roof, windows, it can get very expensive for a homeowner. And if you have not prepared yourself to address those unforeseen crises, that's what causes a problem. That's when you borrow against your credit card, then it becomes unaffordable. So what we do is we do spending plans. We look at the programs that they're going to take, how much can they borrow, what meets their lifestyles, their needs, their wants, so that then that homeowner, future homeowner, is better prepared to make the best choice for themselves. But it goes back to that preparation.
Right.
And as you just mentioned, something as simple as a budget can make a huge difference in someone's ability to manage through finances. In the good times, when you prepare, you build emergency savings. In the bad times, when you need to maybe go into your savings to address those financial challenges that came about. But a study, funny that you mentioned it, last year found that roughly 61% of those that were surveyed, U.S. adults, said that they don't have a spending plan. So that's over 60% don't have a spending plan. And yet we know that that will make a big difference on them being able to achieve their dreams, whether it's education for their children, owning a home, owning a car. It looks different for many people, but you have to prepare. And that's what we're here to do. Give you the education, the skills, resources in the community to help you get on that path.
Now, one thing I've always, I do weddings. I really enjoy doing weddings. But one bit of advice I always give couples, and this, maybe because I was so bad with it, but I always tell them to budget together. And not because of where the money goes. The important issue is it lets them talk about their past, their present, and their future. But I was talking to somebody yesterday because the show was coming up, and I was talking to them about budgeting, and they said, oh, I just pay all the bills the first of the month, whatever's left over we spend. Do you find that real common with?
Yes, and what we also find very common is what we call the budget leaks, which are whether it's going to the vending machine every day, eating out every day. Those are little things that individuals don't realize because it's $1 here, $2 there, that really adds up at the end of the month.
Yes.
And as far as spending their money, as you mentioned, usually, unfortunately, individuals tend to spend the money before the end of the month. On average, it's estimated that I believe about 34% of families run out of money before the end of the month. And even higher percentage are struggling to keep up with their payments and paying them on time, which now you have late fees. So yes, as you mentioned, we do find that. We find that there's little leaks that sometimes individuals don't see until they sit one-on-one with someone and they go through everything. And they go through expenses, incomes, priorities. Doesn't mean you're not going to go out anymore. It does not mean you're not going to have to get to do activities with your children. You're just going to really prepare for them and be a smarter consumer before you take those expenses.
Right. I was talking to a couple from our church not too long ago that make good money. They're both out working, making decent money. And he was talking about a budget horror story he had when they started working on a budget together. He said for some reason they just couldn't save money, and then he realized once put together a budget, he was spending $700 a month on food outside the house. And that's just, I guess it's easy to do.
Yes, it's easy to do. And I think if you have, in our case, what we will call a financial coach, you have somebody who helps you set up those goals. It's going to be a step action plan that you're going to say, okay, how do I reduce the $700 over the course of a couple months? It's not going to happen from one week to the other, but we're going to help you establish a realistic goal, give you any resources that we know about. Obviously, we've been in this business since 1966. We have a lot of resources, tips, suggestions in the community that can help you spend less than $700 a month. And then what do you do with the difference? How do you start an emergency savings fund? If you're saving $100, can you make it an automatic deposit? So we're going to help you.
Makes a big difference.
Exactly. We're going to help you establish a goal, action steps, and then coach you along the way. Check in with you and say, is this working? Is this not working? What can we do? Because we believe in every consumer and we know they can do it. It's just a matter of getting them on the right path and getting them those resources.
So with the credit counselor that we first meet with, that person will take everything into account. They're not going to say, oh, you're stupid, you should be doing this or anything?
Definitely not. We're here, again, I just mentioned 61%. So we're not alone. This is a crisis that is nationwide. But what I think can make a big difference is organizations such as SurePath, where we're advocating for that financial education so that then we can prepare for the future. But yes, we have individuals. We're not here to judge. We're not here to criticize or anything. We're here to empower that consumer. And you have to do that by taking a holistic review at everything and just being empathetic to the situation and finding resources and tools. So we're not here to say, this is what you're doing wrong. We're here to say, we know you can do it. We're your coach. We're going to help you get out of this mess, if you're in one, and we're going to help you get on the right path.
So you're like, once you get somebody on a path or with programs, you're just kind of the motivation keeping them along.
Yes, we want to motivate individuals to keep going, because what we find is either A, somebody lacks the understanding, or B, they just have lost the motivation. The economic recession has been very difficult for families, and families are struggling and they're facing very difficult times. And so we're not here to put you down. We're here to help you, coach you, and move you in the right direction. And we do this one-on-one. We do this through community partners. We work with a lot of other nonprofits in Ventura County as part of their program, because we want to do a holistic approach to everyone's situation and help them get in a better financial future.
Right. So you put together a program and say, okay, here's, as long as I come in honest with you, or your person comes in honest with their debts and honest with their income and everything else, then you just put it all together and say, here's something that can work for you.
Yes. And and obviously we have a lot of resources. So if somebody, just to give an example, is not able to provide food for their children, let's just say we see that they're really struggling, we have partnerships with Catholic Charities, with United Way, First Five, with a lot of other nonprofits, and then we can at least refer you there. So even if we can't provide the service, by being a nonprofit, you're going to someone who is going to find you that resource. We can't do it, we will find you and put you on the right path to someone else who can help you.
So you could put together a plan and get somebody partial food assistance, and then as they go down their plan and get things paid off, then they come off the other nonprofits possibly. Oh, that's really a great thing to do. I mean, that's bringing everybody into the community to help somebody to get out of one little problem they had, which might have been a foolish thing they did or a bad decision they made or a series of bad decisions, and then you're just helping them get the mess cleaned up.
Basically help them address that immediate financial challenge, give them the money management skills to prepare, and then get them on the path to then, whether it's an emergency savings, whether it's going on vacation, any goal that you might have in the short term, we want to help you get to that. And that will build your confidence. And then you will start planning on a 401k, a retirement plan, and that's in the long term. But that's really important, a distinction, that individuals should know that we're not financial planners. We're here to help one step before that, which is let's help you get your finances under control. Let's get them organized. You don't have to be in trouble. It could just be that you, like you mentioned, haven't paid attention to your budget. But we're here to help both, whether you're in trouble or whether you're being preventive and just want to get started on the path of economic self-sufficiency.
So you get, once somebody can get your things taken care of and they're putting money in the bank, then that's when they can go and find a financial planner of some sort.
Yes.
You just let them know, here's how you can do it, here's how you can get money in the bank, here's how you can move forward, and here's what you do next time to not get in the path you're in.
Exactly. And I always tell people it could be something such as buying a car. It doesn't have to be buying a home. It could be buying a used car. But we want to make sure we position you in the best financial capability to take advantage of the lower interest rate so that you don't pay 25 to 50% more for the same vehicle that someone else with good credit would get for much less. So when the right opportunity comes to you, we want you to be able to take advantage of that opportunity. And it doesn't mean a home. It could be anything.
Anything at all. We only have a couple minutes left, but I got one question I want to get an answer to. How many people do you work with, you start with, and then you give them a nice financial plan, and they come up and say, that's not going to work for me? Do you get a lot of those?
We get a lot, and what we find is that we just need to reinforce. So this is a nonprofit. We don't try to sell you anything. We're not calling you. We don't sell your information. We don't market. We're here to help you.
So would you say, okay, how can we make this work for you? Or what part of it doesn't work?
Yes, and we check in.
Because if they're being transparent, you know whether it's going to work or not, because you already know what they're paying. You already know what their house payments are. You already know where all their debts are.
And sometimes people are not ready, and that's okay. But just by calling, it's a free consultation to have nothing to lose. It's all confidential. We can see whether or not you feel we can help you, and if we can't, we'll check in again. But again, we're not aggressive. We're not trying to sell you anything. And if you don't take our service, it doesn't make a difference for us per se. We are here to impart that education.
You'd like to see them being helped.
We want to see individuals being helped. That's the core of what we do. We do a lot of pro bono work, a lot of volunteer work, because we want to help the consumer. We're here to help that consumer.
All right, how do people find you?
As I mentioned, we're headquartered here in Camarillo, so we do have a website at SurePath.org.
SurePath.org.
Okay. Or our local phone number, which is 805-383-7700.
Okay, one more time on the phone.
805-383-7700.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Brenda, for being here with us.
Thank you.
I know, I'm not sure about the audience, but I know I sure learned an awful lot today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Well, thank you very much for being here with us today. My name is Bob Taylor. I've been your host on this segment of Our Ventura TV. And I've been here today with my guest, Brenda Lopez, from the nonprofit SurePath Financial. Thank you very much.